the CTO of AIFEEX on the stage. With his skill as a foreign mover, he was the one who dedicated the data network company in the past and also collaborated with IBM and other company on the developing data visualization as well. Thank you so much for coming to Bangkok.
Hello, Bangkok!
Woohoo!
Yeah! How are you all today? I hope you're as excited as I am.
Bangkok pala to.
Let's see. You have the, oh yes, we have everything up working today. Okay, I am especially happy to be here in Bangkok because Thailand has always held a very special place in my heart. 30 years ago, maybe even a little bit more, I started my third company right here in Thailand. I can't believe it's been so many years. I hope which way we click. There we go. So, we have a lot of ground to cover today, and let's get started. So, let me get over here where I can see. When we moved to Thailand, we had just moved actually from Hong Kong. We had been running for quite a few years network equipment and internet services. We were one of the pioneers in Hong Kong. But as the 1990s came to an end, it was very clear that the dot-com boom was going to bust. And the reason why this happened was that the hardware was still too slow, graphics cards were too slow, there wasn't enough memory, and internet speeds were still way, way too slow. No one could make any money. So billions of dollars were being invested in internet companies, and it just was not ready for prime time. So at that time, we understood it was all going to fall apart, and we had to find a way and a place to weather the storm. So we opened an animation company, which eventually moved to Thailand. And the reason why an animation company after we started as doing internet? Well, at the time the internet bubble was about to burst, CGI, computer animation, modeling and everything, this was just starting to take off. This laid the groundwork for the next stage of the internet, but it also laid the groundwork for everything that we are doing right here today. The AI revolution could not have happened without the CGI revolution that came before it. So if you look up here, this is a shot from the movie Terminator 2. And I don't know how many of you are old enough to be young when this came out, but when this movie came out, it completely blew my mind. Nothing like this had ever been done before. You see, the weird effects here is called liquid metal. But the thing was, it wasn't just liquid and metal effects. Naturally flowing human hair, smoke, and other particle effects, even a year before this movie was made, were just not yet possible. So here we were with companies starting to come into the area like NVIDIA. And of course, if you're in AI today, everyone knows that NVIDIA is the big company building AI chips. But they started building GPUs, graphics processing processors. So everything that we see here is possible because, oops, there we go. Because before AI, was CGI. And what we are looking at is that everything that came, everything that we have now came from something, was built on top of something that came before. So think about it. The internet revolution was built on top of the PC revolution. And the CGI revolution was built on top of the internet and the PC revolution. And now AI is built on a technological base that all started with all these other technologies and revolutions that came before them. Oops, we went a little bit too fast. Okay, so just to finish that section up, what we're seeing now today is that once we have built out this new technological foundation, an infrastructure for the next stage of human development, that what we have is that we are no longer able to do things today. Everything is changing so fast. By the time you're developing something, if you follow whatever's hot, the latest hot technology, the latest iPhone, the latest AI program, whatever you're doing, if you see it, if it's already successful, it's too late to be doing that again. You have to be looking at tomorrow. And we have to look at what are the problems that we have to solve for tomorrow. And we have to use the tools that we have to solve tomorrow's problems today. So how does this all fit together with the larger picture? You know, why we're all here today? And what basically it boils down to is that AIFEEX, that I helped co-found AIFEEX as a way of creating these tools. To create tools that all of us can use to do the impossible today, and at the same time, not just to do the impossible, but to make a lot of money. And of course, we're all here to make a lot of money. So, even 2 years ago, people were still telling me that I was crazy for doing AI development. You know, once upon a time, not that long ago, if you were doing AI development, it would kill your career. Everyone would say, you're crazy. Do not go into AI. AI will never go anywhere. Your career's over. You'll never make any money. And look today. Just like we cannot imagine a world without the internet, we cannot imagine a world of tomorrow without AI. So, for that reason, I chose to get all in on AI and AIFEEX. This was the most important decision of my life. And I hope that it's the most important decision in your lives as well. Yes. I'm all in on AI and AIFEEX. And I hope you are too. And wait, where's Tony? Tony, are you all in? I hope so. So, let's all get started. Oh, we already started talking. Okay, so a good way to understand what AI is and how it works is by going back in time to the 19th century, when what happened was called the Great Electrification, when everything in the world was suddenly being, overnight, seemingly, was being electrified. We got refrigerators, we got washing machines, we started getting vehicles that were powered by, originally powered by electricity. That sort of died for a while when the internal combustion engine came along. But electricity was all been there at the beginning. So a good model during this time was that all you had to do is look around the room and point at something, and you get rich if you added electricity to it. So the electrification of everything in our lives became the single biggest factor in the explosion of the Industrial Revolution. So this same model now applies to AI. So with AI, right now, over this next 10, 20 years, anyone can get rich by looking around them and say, what if we add AI to this? And if you find the right thing and you build the system, you probably will get rich too. So, but it's not only AI. What's important to understand that this is unlike any revolution in human history before, because we are actually sitting at the center of not one revolution, but many revolutions. So if you look up here in the green area, these are all weird names for basically biotechnology. Biotechnology, gene sequencing and editing, drug discovery. This is changing the world more than you will ever imagine. There are a long, long list of miraculous drugs which are now in testing right now that will completely transform healthcare forever. Not many people know about this work, or that these are already developed and, you know, almost ready to be released. At the center of this, AI. Without AI, the biotech revolution could not have happened. Another area is robotics. We all now are familiar with drones and electric cars, robots, and the new one, which keep an eye out for humanoid robots. Humanoid robots will become a very, very big thing within the next 10 years. And the reason why is that humans created the world to be used and accessed using the human form. 2 legs, 2 arms, 2 hands, with, you know, something that can look around up on the top. So, of course, it's going to be easier for us to create robots that can work and use the world and help us using the same body form that we have. And then finally, and not least, the whole crypto universe. Cryptocurrencies, digital wallets, digital contracts, these are far more powerful than most people really realize. Even governments are starting to wake up to understand that what is happening here is a different kind of revolution. It means that we are no longer saddled with a single kind of fiat currency that can only be used in one way. We can now create different currencies that can do different jobs and fit different needs for different people. And this is going to be incredibly important. But at the center of all this and more, I've just scratched the surface of what is happening today. At the center of everything is AI. And all of my work now is coming together because I want AIFEEX to be at the center of AI. So let's briefly take a quick look at the AIFEEX AI platform. So how does AI work? It's actually pretty simple. What you do is you gather as much information as you can and you do what you call tokenize the information. And these tokens are then put together and you use them to build an AI model. When you hear about AI models, that's what you're doing. So the first thing you do is you use neural networks to train the model to create things that are already there. So that if you have a piece of text, it learns to use all the data that you fed it to create text that looks like what's in the model. So that's really all it is, but we can't interact with that. You can't, sit down and use it like ChatGPT or anything else. So the second stage becomes incredibly important, that we then do supervised, basically tweaking. We tweak the model so that it understands how that we ask questions of the model and to give you back responses of what you asked of the model in the first place. And then finally, and this is the new one, the newest stage, which is now really starting to take over everything in the AI community, is called reinforced learning. And it means that at each stage of the learning process, that the AI is being rewarded when it gives back an answer that we want. So over millions and millions of iterations, we end up with better and better answers. So let's move over. Oh, here we are. So run the first one. So what you're seeing here is actually double check. Yeah, this is all new. Okay, this is actually a live peek under the hood of the AIFEEX AI platform. What you're seeing here is data being pulled in from every imaginable source you can imagine, and it's being tokenized right up here on the screen. So it would take me forever to explain to you what all those numbers are, and they aren't terribly important. But what is important, and here we go here, is that we're not using just one model. That we're creating many different models that are like specialized for different kinds of data. So you can see here, we have newsfeed. I guess nothing's happening in the government today, so who knows. Down at the bottom, we see information coming in from social networks. So each one of these specializes in these different kinds of information. We have other models for the weather, some models for stock information. I mean, you name it, we'll create a model around it. Okay, let's go back to the slide. So what this allows us to do is then use all this to create agents. And an agent can be thought of as a little, like our Nova. So we have these little agents that are able to do specialized tasks for us. And the future really is that all of us are going to have this whole pantheon of user agents that will be doing different things for us. But taken together, what they can do is more powerful than what each individual agent is able to do. So this comes down to one of my favorite quotes of all time. During World War II, the United States Corps of Army Engineers had a slogan that went, "The difficult we can do immediately. The impossible takes a little longer." Now that was back in 1939. But today, that's changed a little bit. AI allows us to do things that were impossible before. So if we can do today the impossible instantly, think of what we're going to be able to do tomorrow. This is absolutely the most astonishing time to be alive in human history. More will change in the next 10 years than has changed in the last 10,000 years of human history. Just, you've got to hold on to your seats, folks, because this is going to be a wild ride. And right now, we are standing at ground zero. Here we go. So, as we said, what AI allows us to do with AIFEEX is first, that we can do the impossible in seconds. And this allows us to be far ahead of the markets. Now, what used to take financial companies that ran investment funds had enormous teams of people that they would just sit there and do analysis and try to work out, take all the information and change that was happening and try to figure out where's it all going? What's going to be the next big thing? AI is now allowing us to do projections and understand where the markets are going far faster and in much more detail than we could ever have imagined even a few years ago. It means that we can create predictions and we can start inferring where everything is going, both in short term, which is the most difficult, because if everything is changing too fast, how can you come up with a prediction of what's going on in the future? But just as difficult is to do very long-term forecasts. I would have to get into chaos theory for you to understand this. But the more that you change a system, the more turbulent it becomes and the less predictable it becomes. So AI is allowing us to actually start doing long-term forecasts by creating many, many scenarios. It creates millions and millions of scenarios of what might happen. And then of those scenarios, we break them down into what we think are the most probable directions that any one market might go. And what this all means is that this results in bigger returns for all of you. So, a little public safety comment before we leave. The internet is full of scammers. Everyone knows this. And because AIFEEX is such a successful platform, we are no different. We are the target of some bad actors out there. So, I want to remind everyone here, when you see a URL or a link on the internet, always ensure that it's coming from AIFEEX.com. Don't click on it if it is from anyone else, and please report it. Please report bad links. This allows us to help you stay safe, keep your investments safe, and, well, make money. Thank you for your time today, and AIFEEX!
Yeah. 谢谢 Thank you
Thank you so much.